Racism in Facebook groups, part 2. So, I left off about Pakistanians and how unfair treated they are and things like that. And it's just a stated fact that when we're in these groups, you have your rules and you have your rights. And I don't really have too much of a problem with that except for when they start popping up rules such as to be in this group, you are not allowed to be Indian or Pakistani. And again, the first thing I pop up is, what kind of Indian? And they'll come up with the ones that ride pachyderms. That would be elephants for those who don't speak scientifically. The ones that ride carpets, as in Aladdin. The ones with the turbans and, you know, other stuff. And I'm like, well, that's tight, like totally unfair, and why is it this way? And then they'll break into, well, James, these guys are exceptionally perverted. They're always asking for boobs and vagina pics, and they're always stealing our pics and posting them as themselves when they pose as girls, and all kinds of other miscellaneous shit. And I said to myself, why do we have these groups to connect with people, and yet we refuse to connect with people? And then they go into how certain Indians treat people from the Philippines in their country really, really bad. Because, a lot of Filipinos go abroad and they work in Dubai and other places and stuff like that. Shout out to the Philippines in Dubai. Be safe out there because, they did send a young Filipino lady home who died not too long ago, like about a year and a half ago. And it finally, made the news or whatever about 8 months ago. Maybe longer, but it did happen. Say, I do worry about my friends that are Filipino that work abroad, namely Joan and Michelle. That's not how you say it. I can't spell it, but she knows who she is. They're really good women, and they have families at home, and they're busting their ass over in Dubai, sending money home to the Philippines, and some of them even got to bring their families with them, and they have settled in the Philippines. Settled in Dubai. And if that's their thing, that's fine. I got no problem with that. But what I have a problem is with the racism that the people from Dubai or India are facing on Facebook. And I haven't bumped into any racism on Instagram. But as far as Facebook is concerned, in these Facebook groups that I have joined, they really hate Indians with the dots. Again, you can't really blame every Indian with the dot for the action of one Indian. If you're going to blame them for anything, blame Gandhi for them wanting to have peace. But, it didn't really work out for Gandhi, and it's not really working out for anyone, really. But, it's the same thing with blaming blacks for stuff, or blaming Asians for stuff, or blaming whites for stuff. Not every black man is a thug. Not every white man is a redneck. Not every Asian person is always running a fucking store telling you, I don't want no trouble, get out of my store. But hell, some Indian guys run stores too. But money is green. So most people don't reject you when you have money. I have never been kicked out of an Asian store. Let's just put it that way. I've never been kicked out of an Asian store ran by an Indian from Pakistan or an Asian from Southeast Asia or Korea or Japan or China. Alright? So I've never been kicked out of any of those stores. And especially in Canada. I've been welcomed in quite a few of those Asian stores. So, I'm not one to complain about that. But what I am complaining about is how racism plays a part in these cell phone bubble groups that are on my phone. Let's make sure I don't pop up one of these damn groups because they're thoroughly adultish. Now that I don't want to ruin it for everybody. But they're popping up stuff like that versus popping up other things in the cam box. But if you're on Facebook and you're on these groups, then y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. But there's a lot of racism going on in these groups, and I want it to stop, or at least cut back, or something that can benefit us all. But they are so unwelcoming to Pakistanians. They are so unwelcoming to Indians from India. And I'm like, well, just because one of them did it, don't mean that they're all going to do it. And they don't seem to see it that way. They seem to see it, it's their way or the highway. And I get it. I respect it. I get it. But at the same time, if you're not willing to give people a chance, does that make you just as racist? I mean, really, it does make you just as racist as them, the ones that actually did do the shit to you. So you can't prejudge the people because that would be bad. My Korean girlfriend broke my heart 10 years ago. I still love Koreans. You know, I still love lots of Asian people. I can't blame them for the actions of one Korean. That would be like a throwback way back to the Vietnam War or the Korean War, where people was all against Asians because of World War One. I mean World War II, excuse me, when they put Japanese people in entrapment camps. Some people who weren't even Japanese were also put in entrapment camps. There were some Chinese cats that were put in entrapment camps. Now, why was that? Because guess what? No one could tell the fucking difference. So let's just put them all in there. You know, if you were Polynesian and you were living in Hawaii, you didn't have that problem. If you were Polynesian and you were probably living on the California coast, your ass might have wound up in an entrapment camp. You know, but we don't know. But we do know that for the most part, the bulk of them were Japanese. You know, and you know, the thing about being racist, we don't call enough racist people out on their racism. We really don't. And I'm probably going to get called out on this video too, as being the most racist person on the planet. But I understand that I don't have the right to be a racist because I am Cherokee, black, and white. And if you want to put that in order, it would be black, Cherokee, and white. Unless you want to go by the Asian persuasion of Asian Cherokee, black, and white. Yeah. Either way you slice it, I'm still mixed. I will be mixed until I breathe my last breath and God puts me into a new family in a new body. So, yeah. We're going to end it here. If you're in these groups, please consider not being racist. Thanks for watching.